Jake Paul's California mansion has been raided by the FBI, multiple news organizations report. You can see in this aerial footage agents in uniform outside his home in Calabasas.
You know what's funny about your brother? Your brother talks more shit than anybody else on the planet. They're trying to sue people when people talk shit. There's people out there saying they're fake fights, they're fixed.
You know, for me, in my opinion, I think it's scripted a little bit because, you know, of the weight difference, and, you know, Joshua's a former, you know, champion. And also, you know, he's current, he's active.
That was not a boxing match. Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this contest. And then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again.
Here we go again with Jake Paul right in the middle of another massive controversy that might finally bring down his entire operation. New claims are surfacing everywhere, suggesting Paul has been orchestrating his biggest fights, including that Netflix spectacle against Anthony Joshua. Social media is going absolutely wild with reports claiming both Paul brothers could be facing serious legal row over these supposed setups. Boxing promoters and league officials keep pushing back hard, insisting that rigged professional bouts would bring massive legal heat, but the doubt surrounding Paul's boxing authenticity has hit an all-time high. This adds another wild chapter to someone whose legal troubles already included federal agents raiding his California home. With these new allegations spreading like wildfire and his fighting reputation under attack from every angle, people are wondering if we're finally watching Jake Paul's empire crumble.
FBI agents have raided the Southern California home of YouTube star Jake Paul. Federal officials say the search was part of an investigation. Wendy Birch is in Calabasas with what we're learning tonight.
Sky 5 was overhead this morning as federal agents entered Jake Paul's Calabasas home located in this gated community off of Mulholland Highway. We counted close to 24 federal agents, some of them in tactical gear, entering the residence. Why they were here and what they were looking for, that remains unclear. The federal search warrant has been sealed and no one is offering any additional information.
For years now, long before any arrest whispers started making rounds, boxing experts, retired champions, and fight promoters have been calling out Jake Paul's legitimacy in the ring. Everything from hand-picked opponents well beyond their peak years, to suspicious fight rhythms, convenient late-round knockouts, and whispered stories about contracts loaded with protection clauses. Critics keep saying Paul's entire boxing journey has been engineered to look impressive while avoiding real danger.
Manufactured than earned.
Because I've always been curious about this, because, like, you know, you saw the Askren fight, we saw these fights that he went into. The Fury one obviously didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, just because I was so convinced that, like, Jake had these fights fixed, and there's a lot of people who talk about the fights being fixed because it's just the way it is.
Yeah, they tell me that too. They're like, tell me you're not going to take a fall against Paul. Everybody says that to me. I'm like, are you kidding me? You could have paid me all the money in the world.
Listen, there's something here that can't be ignored. Respected voices throughout boxing have been saying the same thing over and over. Sure, Paul brings huge crowds and massive paydays to the sport, but his opponent choices consistently dodge legitimate threats. This creates this pattern where people start thinking results are predetermined to keep the Jake Paul machine running smoothly rather than actually testing what he's made of. Every new scandal doesn't just stand alone anymore. Each controversy builds on the last one, creating this bigger picture that suggests Paul's boxing career has been about image, manipulation, and staying in control, instead of embracing the raw unpredictability that makes boxing what it is.
What happened to me is what was going to happen to him had he dropped those hands. If I say, Rampage, I'm going to pay you $2 million, right? Let this dude beat you, what you going to do? You're going to feel disrespected, number one. Right? That ain't enough money. For me to do that, I got to be willing to walk away for good. Something like 20-something million where I can invest in and fall off in the shade, because that's what you would have to do.
Remember that whole situation with the Mike Tyson fight that had everyone talking about the drama and excitement? Then those leaked script rumors started flying around suggesting the entire Paul versus Tyson showdown was mapped out ahead of time. People went crazy online when supposed audio clips surfaced backing up claims that all the big moments, including Tyson getting tired and setting up Paul's knockout victory, were completely faked.
A high school graduate in the United States is $1.3 million. Again, that's over the course of the person's entire life. Jake Paul earned 30 times that in one night. People talk about winners and losers, like Jake Paul won and Mike
After beating Mike Tyson, Jake Paul didn't hold back when talking about how the fight went down. He was pretty bold about the whole thing, saying he barely took any real shots or felt any pain during the bout. Paul's comment was his way of showing he felt like he completely controlled the fight without facing much of a challenge. His supporters ate it up, pointing to his words as evidence he's got serious skills and can handle even legendary fighters. But plenty of people pushed back hard, saying the fight felt flat and boring, and questioning whether Tyson was really trying to win or just going through the motions.
Wearing assless chaps though, in the
did that moment go viral with his cheeks out?
I don't know. It made my stomach hurt.
I was seeing it
Why didn't he
while
have
I was
underwear
ringside. He had a G-string on, is what he had.
I thought he was completely butt naked.
Nah, he looked like a stripper.
But yeah, biggest live gate, 18.1 millions in U.S. boxing history outside of Las Vegas. A phenomenal night. I'm sorry I didn't knock him out though, guys.
Shut the fuck up. It was crazy when we talked about this. I told
You're about to hear some real talk here. You handled the ending right, showed respect, kept things professional. Now look at this upcoming Anthony Joshua situation. It's the same playbook all over again. Fight analysts are calling this matchup completely ridiculous, pointing out the massive gaps in experience, physical size, and career achievements between Paul and Joshua. Some people are straight up calling this whole thing a circus act instead of real competition. You've got a YouTube content creator turned boxer with 12 wins and 1 loss going up against someone who held the World Heavyweight Championship twice and has been fighting elite competition his entire career. Experts are describing this as completely one-sided, with Paul looking more like a payday opponent than someone who belongs in the same ring, which just adds more fuel to the fire that this is all about the show rather than actual sport.
Jake Paul, fake Paul I call him, against Anthony Joshua.
This massive powerhouse, 2-time world champion is a different beast entirely.
Still got a big punch. I think he's mentally fragile at world level if he goes against the big guns because of the knockout, especially the bar knockout when he got fucking splattered. You know what I mean? In round 5, and he got hurt early on, and then he got done. And he's not been in the ring for 13 months.
Yeah.
But can you see a world in which Jake Paul is competitive in this fight?
No.
No. How do you see the fight going if AJ takes it serious?
This whole thing ends whenever he decides he wants it to end. No question about it. But here's what's interesting about Jake Paul going into this fight. His confidence level has caught even veteran boxing watchers off guard. Recent analysis shows he's radiating this belief that he can step up and actually pull off the upset. This isn't like some of his earlier fights where people questioned his commitment. Paul is diving into this preparation with laser focus and serious determination. People studying his training camp are saying his mental game is everything right now. And this confidence comes from feeling physically prepared and mentally locked in. His approach shows he's not taking this lightly or underestimating what it means to face a former heavyweight champion. Instead, he's treating this as his chance to silence all the doubters and prove he belongs on boxing's biggest stage.
He's very big. I'm here to shock the world, inspire the next generation. We're in the Heat arena. I'm a big Heat fan. Miami's on fire. This is my first pro fight, was in Miami against Gibb. I'm bringing that same energy here. First round KO.
But Jake Paul's growing confidence in professional boxing has plenty of experienced analysts shaking their heads. Critics are saying Paul's belief that he can hang with someone like Anthony Joshua is completely disconnected from reality. Joshua brings years of elite training, countless championship-level fights, and proven stamina that Paul has never had to deal with before. People watching Paul's recent performances and physical development are raising eyebrows, suggesting his improvements might not be coming from training alone and could involve performance-enhancing substances.
Is Jake Paul natural? No. I can say that with pretty certain confidence in that statement, mainly because, as you heard me mention, I know a lot of the people he trains with and I have heard things. Now let's give Jake the benefit of the doubt, right? He's able to restrain from the peer pressure that everyone's putting on him to hop on these certain compounds. Then that would be cool to train natural, do what he needs to do. But the thing is, his body composition has changed so much, his explosiveness, his power, and yes, that comes with training and time. But I find it very suspicious that for some reason, whenever a drug test gets brought up, for instance, when Fury wanted that in the contract, Jake Paul turns them down. So you should think to yourself, it's probably because he's not natural. Now I want to make it clear, I don't care whether Jake Paul is natural or not. There's so many people that aren't natural that are in combat sports. In fact, Tyron Woodley probably is also not natural. Everyone wants that little edge over their competition, and that's where drugs and anabolics come into play. There's certain compounds that are out there that just increase your explosiveness immensely, your recovery, so that you can stay in the same weight class, which is very important for combat sports, whether that's boxing, UFC, whatever type of combat sport you're doing. So that is why you guys have seen so much improvement from Jake Paul. Of course, he has a great circle around him, great trainers, great coaches, a great regimen, but definitely anabolics play a very fundamental role in that. They allow him to train as hard as he does. They allow him to increase his power and speed. And of course, when you think of those concepts, that's essentially the recipe to win in a combat sport.
Even with all the drama and controversy swirling around, real money is pouring into betting markets for this fight, and the gambling action has become its own source of debate around the Paul versus Joshua event. Everyone from hardcore fans to casual bettors to celebrity personalities are throwing down wagers on how this plays out, which is just making the whole argument about whether this is legitimate competition or pure entertainment even more heated. The question everyone keeps asking is whether we're about to witness real boxing or just another show.
Yeah. It's actually, so you think that Jake Paul...
You couldn't fake it. You really think Anthony Joshua's going to put his whole livelihood on the line for Jake Paul?
No, I don't think he would.
So there you go. It's over when he wants it to be over.
There could be some kind of tacit agreement in the background.
How?
Where they have a handshake.
Then that's illegal. You're going to jail.
Exactly, it's illegal. That's what I was going to say.
So you can't.
Because it's not an exhibition.
No, it's a fight.
So we're
and people are betting on it. Big amounts of money.
So we're watching this. I'm flying out there next week to Miami to watch it. So I'm going out there. He's laughing. I'm getting some old. So it's all good. But it's like Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua, 6 foot. Was he 6'6"?
About that.
Fucking, what is he? 16. What's 245 pounds?
He can't be a pound over 245.
What's
so
that in stone?
The best part, just on 17 stone or just under.
So Jake lost to Tommy Fury, and that's the one everyone keeps on. Do you think he's improved much since Tommy Fury?
Yeah. But do I think he's improved enough to be competitive? Unless I close my eyes and Josh is completely shot to bits, no.
Yeah, and so is the potential that Jake Paul, like, I know you keep saying no, I know you're right, but is there a world in which you see Jake?
When those leaked script rumors started spreading, fighters who had stepped into the ring with Jake Paul found themselves dealing with serious criticism, with fans accusing them of selling out their reputations. People started speculating that Tyson had made some kind of deal with Paul, damaging his legendary status by taking part in what looked like a predetermined outcome.
The Tyson versus Paul script was fully leaked all the way down to the bow Jake did in round 8. This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it today. A fake script has been going around that said Mike Tyson will get KO'd in round 5, but that one was clearly not real or an older script. This will give you goosebumps. I'm just going to read you parts, but if you want to see the full script, I'll show you it at the end. Round 1, opening bell rings and Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, but slower than his prime. Round 2, Tyson comes alive, but his breathing grows heavier. Round 3, Paul gains confidence and lands a sharp right that stuns Tyson. That's exactly what happened. Then round 4 and 5, the fatigue sets in strong for Tyson and Jake is landing a bunch of hits. Round 6, Jake showboats, which is the tongue thing he did here. Then on round 7, Jake plays it safe to not KO Mike. And round 8 wins by decision and bows at the end. This is crazy. Subscribe, and if you want to read it yourself, it's right here.
People who watched the Jake Paul fights closely reported strange moments throughout the matches, like Tyson seeming to give Paul quiet advice during clinches, and referees appearing to gesture for Paul to back off from certain attacks. These weird interactions just fed into everyone's suspicions that the whole thing was choreographed from start to finish. The CEO of Matchroom Boxing has come out swinging against claims that the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight involves any kind of script or predetermined outcome. He's been crystal clear that if this fight happens, it's going to be a legitimate professional boxing match under official regulations, not some exhibition or rehearsed performance, directly shooting down all the fixing rumors.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was 100% scripted. Mike Tyson repeatedly bit his boxing glove throughout the fight. When fights are scripted, fighters do weird gestures to signal that they're hurt. It's very possible Mike Tyson was biting on his glove to tell Jake Paul to calm down. Now, if that's not enough proof that this fight was scripted, in the middle of the fight, Mike Tyson is literally talking to Jake Paul while they are clinching. And in the middle of the fight, the referee told Jake Paul to stop measuring. For those of you who don't know, in boxing terms, measuring means that you're setting up for a knockout by seeing how far your opponent is with jab. The referee literally told Jake Jake Paul to stop measuring, and before the fight, we see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul whispering stuff to each other. Mike Tyson biting on his gloves, whispering secrets to Jake Paul in the middle of the fight, and the referee literally telling Jake Paul to stop measuring during the fight. That should be enough proof that this fight is scripted.
Frank Smith just dropped some explosive comments about the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, claiming the whole event prioritizes spectacle over legitimate sport. His argument is that instead of getting a real boxing match, fans are being sold something designed purely for entertainment value, not to actually test either fighter's abilities. Smith basically said what people are paying for is engineered to create buzz and shock value rather than honor what competitive boxing should be about. He positioned it as high-level entertainment rather than authentic sport, which raises serious questions about how real or competitive this fight actually is. Smith did mention he's still holding on to hope that a Fury versus Joshua fight could eventually happen. He called that potential matchup the biggest fight that could be made in boxing, showing optimism that by 2026, this dream fight might finally become reality. However, Smith also warned that boxing is full of big talk and empty promises, and that plenty of hyped up fights never actually happen, suggesting that while the concept gets fans excited, there are still tons of business and contract obstacles that could kill the whole thing.
People who say Anthony is ruining his legacy just by taking this fight. Fans don't respect what he's done in the sport already. He's an Olympic gold medalist, two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. I sort of sympathize with him because I feel like if he doesn't beat him quicker than he beat Francis, people are just going to write it off. I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about there's an agreement, there's a secret contract? Have any of those discussions happened regarding this fight?
It's an 8-round professional fight. AJ wouldn't have taken it if that was the stance it had to be, if it was an exhibition, if it was you've got to hold him up for 8 rounds. It wouldn't suit Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going in there to knock out Jake Paul.
Sorry, just to silence all the doubters here. You know, a lot of people saying this can't be real. You know, Anthony Joshua going in there, it must be an exhibition, or Anthony Joshua's going to it's going to be choreographed and Anthony's going to carry him through a couple of rounds. I know Anthony Joshua. Just to silence all those doubters, he's going to go in there to do a job, right?
It's 100% real. It's 100% real. People asking why is it 8 rounds, not 10? Because I don't think it goes past the first round. So it's, you know, regardless, it's quite irrelevant. I think he steps across the ring and knocks him out. You know, but we're in for a bit of fun and everyone's going to be tuning in.
It might not be fun for Jake Paul. I mean, it's serious entertainment, is it?
Yeah, 100%. You know, look, I agree with you. I accept Jake Paul is absolutely mental for doing this. And I don't think he quite realises. I think he's got people around him who actually are saying, you know, Anthony Joshua's chinny. He said it in interviews. It's quite wild, but, you know, if that's the world he wants to live in, he'll find out on December 19th.
And Frank, to finish with, the plan is still sometime in 2026, AJ against Tyson Fury. And Turki Al-Sheikh's working on that, is he?
That's the fight we want to make. That's the fight we want to see. Look, we're all guilty of doing a lot of talking over the years and that not happening. So I don't want to talk too much, but that is definitely what we want to see in 2026. It's one of the biggest fights in the sport. And I'm very hopeful that we will.
Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has been fielding these script accusations head-on, though his responses have created their own controversy. Hearn made jokes about the only script being Joshua's game plan to come out swinging and end the fight as fast as possible. He said this to emphasize how serious the fight would be and shut down any talk about predetermined results. But the fact that he even needs to address these rumors publicly shows just how much this chatter has spread among boxing fans and taken on a life of its own.
Within media circles,
I get so many people can't speak. Yeah, but it's obviously scripted, isn't it? I'm like, no. 1, that's illegal. I mean, this is a professional contest. 2, we would never sign up to anything that's going to make AJ look bad or devalue him, lose rounds, go loads of rounds.
Do you think there's any world in which AJ pulls back, though?
No, absolutely. He couldn't do that as a fighter. He would be incapable of going in there and holding back. I mean, I think the only thing that's a bit harsh is if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out in the first round, he should be ashamed of himself. I was like, fine, give us 2, like, or 3. Because if Jake does move, he can look after himself. It's not like he's just going to get one shot round the arm and go on the floor.
So what do you think? Is this finally when Jake Paul's run comes to an end, or will he somehow survive this controversy like he has all the others? Let me know what you think in the comments.